Yes.
No technical difficulties. Yay!
Okay, let's get this started. All right. Hey, everyone. I am CJ Warrant, and I write dark romantic suspense, contemporary romance, and male-male romance. And my cohort, author Rochelle Bradley, who writes romantic comedies and paranormal romance. Welcome you all. We have our special guest here, Brandy Goodman. She's a PA. She is a married mom with a rambunctious 1-year-old. Or a 2-year-old, I apologize. She's a microbiologist by day and an avid romance reader and PA and swag maker by night. She loves all kinds of romance, from sweet to kinky, and she helps out in events, beta reads, and promotes books. She also does book covers and helps other authors in events and stuff. And then our other I'm sorry, I'm just getting tongue-tied here. Our other author is Samatha Harris, who lives in Pennsylvania with her husband, David, and daughter, Ava. She was born in Florida, but migrated north, which most people agree that's a little backwards. She has been an artist of her life, a tattoo artist, which we're going to talk about. Tattoo rock on for more than 10 years. A storyteller since she was a kid. She has a slightly unhealthy love for Frank Sinatra, classic movies, and jazz and blues music. But her first love has always been reading, from romance to thrillers to historical romance and everything in between. She loves to become part of the story. Welcome, Brandy and Sam. Can we call you Sam? Because
Sam works great.
Kind of like a tongue tied, you know, because I'm like,
yeah, I get that a lot.
Let's start off with Brandy. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what do you do, especially in the writing world.
So I go to events with Rochelle because I PA for her, and then I PA for a couple other people and help them with promotions and reads, arc reads. I started making swag recently.
How long you been doing that?
PAing probably for a year now with Rochelle. And then I picked up a few people, I think in July and August this year. And then I started swag last month.
Yeah, we saw some of your swag stuff. They're pretty awesome. So how many authors do you have under your belt that you help PA?
Well, 2 authors, and then one person is a book cover designer / author. So I mainly help her find like images for her book covers. And then I think she's coming out with her first book soon, and then I'll be helping her do author stuff.
Okay, so the one question I didn't ask is, what do you drink in the morning? Because we drink coffee.
I mean, I'm on my lunch break, so I'm drinking coffee. But usually it's iced coffee or iced latte during the summer. It's about to switch to hot for the fall.
And then the boba tea.
Oh, yeah. Can't forget boba tea. Oh, my goodness. What about you, Sam?
I'm definitely a coffee drinker. Every once in a while, I'll mix it up with a tea, but I need caffeine to be human, because otherwise it's just a disaster.
Me too.
So, pumpkin spice, yay or nay?
Nay.
Nay. I
am a hard nay.
No frills.
I have a friend of mine who lives and dies by the pumpkin spice. Like, she starts texting me on August 31st. Like, it's almost time. Like, it's just pumpkin. It's not like, I'll do the pumpkin muffins, but other than that, I'm not gonna freak out about the pumpkin spice.
I like the muffins, cakes, and I make homemade pies. I don't buy like the Libby's. I buy like actual.
Yeah, I'm not a huge pumpkin pie fan. Like, I've never been. Like, I like the pumpkin loaves, or like the like I live in Pennsylvania, so we have like the Amish markets everywhere, and they do pumpkin whoopie pies.
Yeah.
Oh my God, those are really good. But other than that, I kind of stay away from anything else.
Well, we have a restaurant in Ohio, like southwest Ohio, where Brandy and I live, called Frisch's. and it's a big boy restaurant, part of a chain, but they're family owned, and they have a pumpkin pie recipe that I just grew up on. So it just tastes like reliving my childhood when I have it. Now I don't need whipped cream, I don't need ice cream. I just need a slice of that pumpkin pie. And there was a time when I was pregnant that I bought a whole pumpkin pie for myself. I didn't eat it all at
We
once.
have all been there. I totally get that. I used to do that with sourdough bread. When I was pregnant with my daughter, I would eat an entire loaf of sourdough bread on my own, just sitting in front of the TV. That was my go-to.
I like sourdough. Sourdough is like one of my favorite breads. Even though it's against my better health and judgment, I still eat it.
Yeah, but so are most things that are worth it.
No.
Well, I have
Most things that make life worth living are usually against your doctor's recommendations.
Most
So this is an iced pumpkin spice coffee this morning. So eat your heart out.
Homemade. So do you do like the what was it? Just like the pumpkin spice creamer, or do you have like?
No, this is actual pods for my Keurig.
Okay.
It's just Starbucks pumpkin spice flavor. I don't do sugar in my coffee. I've weaned that out because I have my family's diabetics, so I'm trying to avoid that for me. So I just put the pumpkin spice with ice, and it came out the way it is. And then I have a little oat milk creamer. And it's pretty good. I mean, it's not overbearing. It just has a little hint, and it actually smells more like pumpkin spice than it tastes. So I'm fine with that because I love candles that smell like that in the fall.
Candles is one thing, but coffee for me,
Yeah.
I need to taste coffee. You know what I mean?
Well, it tastes more like coffee than pumpkin spice. So you'd be happy.
But it's still back there. It's still back there, and I'm just like, we're gonna have to disagree to agree.
All right,
there you go.
Or agree to disagree, however you ever want to say it. Okay, so how many books do you have out there, Sam?
I have currently published 8, with the 9th being currently written in pieces, but it's coming. But yeah, I've currently published 9. My most recent, Amongst the Chaos, came out last October.
Now, is that is a series or?
No, it is a standalone. Amongst the Chaos it's actually way out of my comfort zone, like so different than anything I've written before. Because I know people who know me I tend to be lean towards the wit and the sarcasm, and my writing definitely reflects that. But I don't know what happened with the story. It just kind of took over. But it actually went kind of dark and suspenseful, which is very strange for me. But I honestly, it's probably in my opinion, the best thing I've written.
I have to pick that book up. That's my kind of reading.
Well, it's got some crazy twists to it. It's about this type A, very straight laced. She's a human resource consultant, and she teaches sexual harassment seminars. She's always follows the rules. She's got a very firm set plan to her life, and one day she just inherits a male strip club in Atlanta.
Oh wow.
Ooh.
So it just kind of starts this snowball effect, but that just turns everything upside down. And the crazier thing is that the strip club is actually a front for a domestic violence shelter.
Oh,
okay.
Wow.
So it goes in a very different. It goes in a very different direction, but I'm very happy with the way that it came out, and I've gotten some really great feedback. Given that I was worried, honestly, when it first was published, just because given that the subject matter is so delicate and can be so triggering for so many people, I really took a lot of care in making sure that it has an honest portrayal while still remaining sensitive.
Right. That's hard to do. That balance that you have to.
Right.
That's where like the editing and having like multiple people read it, that
Absolutely
that comes into big time. What about you, Brandy?
Absolutely.
What do you like to read? What is your main core genre you like to read? Because you said anything from sweet to kinky. So what are you leaning towards, kinky girl?
That covers a lot of ground.
At the moment. How about at the moment? Because we know she writes, yeah. Ooh, crickets there.
I'm gonna the double D again. I'm trying to get through that again so I can help you out do your stuff. But MC, motorcycle club.
Motorcycle MC. Okay. That's a very popular subgenre, is the motorcycle club.
I like it because it has series. Usually it's a series, it's not just one book. And then you get all these, club members and get the family.
So if you absolutely had to pick, what would be your favorite MC?
Oh no, she's in love with a lot of them.
We can run this to series if it helps.
The Xavier Neal or Penny Angeline or who else?
No, I only have a couple in their series. I want a big series. I know they're still working on stuff, so let them get more out there and then we'll reevaluate. But right now, I would have to say The Kings of Retribution, MC by Sandy Alvarez and Crystal Daniels. They co-write, and they have 2 chapters, motorcycle club chapters.
So you don't get to know the whole entire club.
Yeah, so
both
this one has 7 books, and then the other one has 4, but they're still writing other ones for it. But the first one, you meet the first club, the mother chapter, and then they have another chapter, and they kind of come into it. I think in maybe the first book, but maybe the second book, and so you get to meet those characters, and then it's just.
Well, I
reviewed them all on TikTok. They were amazing. I love them.
This kind of is a good segue into what you do as a PA, because you've made what you call family trees, right, for them?
Yeah, so I make family trees, and I do book Bibles for authors if they want. So obviously I have to read the book or the entire series, and I did a tree for them just on my own. I didn't they didn't ask me to do it, but there were so many characters. I was like, I need to get a tree.
No, so I like the family tree. Because you made one for me.
Me too.
It keeps me organized of who belongs to who, and I could just add on to it also. If it's characteristics or even characters themselves, adding on to it, and it's a nice way of keeping your characters straight and stuff.
Yeah, and MCs, sometimes there'll be actual blood relations, but sometimes there's not. So it's not like everybody's interconnected, but you can tell I color code it and color code the lines and all that stuff. So I did it for them, and then I sent it to them. I was like, oh, I made a family tree, because I asked them, do you have one? And they're like, no. And I was like, well, I'm gonna make one, and then if you guys want it, you can have it. And they're like, yeah, sure. So then I just
it worked.
Yeah, I don't think as an author we'd ever turn something like that down.
No, not at all. What about you, Sam? I'm sorry.
I do that a lot.
What about you, Sam? What are you currently reading, or what is your favorite genre?
I like the contemporary, more romantic comedy. Every once in a while, it just depends on my mood. Every once in a while I'll go I'll just be kind of in a dark suspense mood, so I'll flip into that. But or sometimes the sports, but I tend to kind of stay in the contemporary romantic. Right now I'm currently reading Lauren Blakely's new Virgin Replay.
Yes.
And I've been in kind of a reread.
Me too.
Lately.
Yes.
I don't know what it is, but sometimes it's hard to when you get a new book to really kind of get started into it. You just kind of you have that feeling in the middle of a book when you're already invested in the characters, and you just kind of are sucked into that world. And when you start a new book, it takes time to get up to that. So sometimes at night, if I'm just reading before I go to sleep,
Yes. Yes.
You know what I'm talking about? I just reread the. I can't think of the name of the series. No, it's like the Briar hockey series or something like that. But I just reread through that whole thing, and then Megan March's Fall of the Legend.
Yes.
I just went through that one again, and I've been rereading Kaylee Ryan's Remedy, and because I'm obsessed with her. I always have been. Like I was lucky enough to become pretty good friends with her, just through correspondence, and she's fantastic. I absolutely just adore everything she writes.
What were you saying, Brandy?
I'm sorry?
Oh,
Remedy.
No, Brandy. Were you saying? Were you going to say something?
No.
Okay, I thought you were pointing at something.
Because she writes romantic comedies and you write suspense stuff. It's like those are your guys' stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh, Rochelle.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I write romantic comedy. And I just submitted my first in a spin-off series for my original series to my editor, my new editor. So we'll see how that goes. And she is also my cover designer. So I'm like, I do have an idea for what I want for the cover design. You know how you do. You got your little whatever you picture in your mind. But I'm curious to see what she thinks, how she will design. Because I'm not going to tell her anything. I'm going to like just do what you think you will and see how it turns out. And I'll see if it aligns with what I'm thinking. So I'm kind of curious. It's a nice little experiment. But, you know,
I'm sure she loves that.
total freedom, right? The thing is, she's done two other, like the original Fortuna, Texas series, which is where the men are dared to read romance and they get hooked and then they start acting out the different scenes and whatnot. So that's the whole premise for the first series. But now this is the men's book club within the town. So this will be interesting to see, because you know how if you see book club book actual novels about book clubs and there's like people on the cover and with books or like 5 women or whatever, or just a flower or something. So this will be interesting because it's men and they're like firefighters and ranch owners and the mayor, you know, they're all over the place.
They're on the cover.
Yeah. I don't know.
Well, that's cool.
I don't know how that will work. If she'll put like a sexy dude on the cover, or if she'll like, it'll be like a cutesy, funny thing, because it's romantic comedy.
Right.
And it's sweet too. I don't have any, I mean, there's cussing and things in it. So, but there's no sex. It's just innuendo and things like that. So it'll be interesting to see what she comes up with.
Definitely. I mean, there's so many different ways you can go with that.
I know. So what are you currently reading, Rochelle?
Oh, what'd you say, Brandy?
I'm sorry, Brandy.
I said I want to order a cowboy for Brad on there. That's what I want.
That's what you want. Yeah, he's a ranch owner. So what I'm currently reading, I read a couple beta for my 2 CJs who both write MM. But personally, I've been reading a lot of sci-fi lately. I don't know what that is. This was my last one I finished. It's Hero by Cheryl Brooks. That's the Cat Star Chronicles. They're they're humanoid with cat eyes and like pointy ears and no body hair. Whatever. But they have a magic. They have a magic.
That's an interesting visual.
Well, they have hair on their head, but they don't have. And it's almost like a mane, so that's kind of. But anyway, there's no whatever fur. But anyway, they have like magic semen that give the girls like ecstasy orgasms. So it's interesting. it's a naughty read, but there's a whole series.
Nice.
There's a whole series on them, and they're like an almost extinct race or whatever, alien, whatever, and they find mates. You know how they have one of those. It's one of those fated mate type things, but it's interesting. So that was what I read, and then before that, I read a series by Nicole Bates, who is a Michigan writer. I met her, and I have an interview on my YouTube channel that I talked to her about it. But she's got 3 in that series. Oh gosh, I can't remember the title of it. I'm having a brain fart. Starts with an E. It was really good though, but I can't remember the title.
We'll just type that into Google and see what happens.
Nicole Bates. You just put in her name, Nicole Bates, and EM something. It's a, alien planet.
Right.
I could run and get the book. It's right over there. But anyway, I whatever reason I'm going to read, kind of beta read a friend's 4th in the series. She's been working on it, and that is also sci-fi, but it's the 4th in the series. So, and I get to see it first. So I'm really excited. So,
cool.
I'm glad I sent my story in, so I'm done editing and doing all that fun stuff. And of course, I have to wait when she sends it back. Then I have to make the real edits. But right now, I've got that little pocket between where I can read it. So I'm excited. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to dominate.
Is it called Empyrean?
Yes, thank you. I haven't. I'm the 3rd in the series. Yes, thank you. Empyrean. And it was the EM, but I need to read the 3rd. I need to get the.
So, Brandy, I didn't hear you, but how many authors do you have right now?
3.
You have 3. So, how many authors do you would like to have total to like fill your day with PA stuff?
Well, since I have a full-time job and toddler and a mixed flag, I mean, I will take one more full-time person.
Me?
Call it.
I called it my space. No.
But yeah, I have a lot going on, but people ask me how I do it, and I don't know how I do it, but
it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Lists and lists and lists of everything. I'm like, okay, this is what I gotta do today. You know, I do, I'm a moderator for 2 other Facebook groups other than Rochelle, and I don't necessarily count them as my PA work. I just, when I post in Rochelle, I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna go post in those so that I remember. And then posting those. So I just do like daily posts or whatever about anything, really.
That's cool. Now let's get down to brass tacks. How did you get into tattooing, Sam?
Well, it's actually, I had a friend of mine, I've always been an artist, so I've always been sketching. I actually went to college for fashion design, which was incredibly bizarre. But so I've always been into sketching and things like that. And like, I was maybe 20, 21, something. No, I was 20. And I was sketching on a lunch break, and I had a friend of mine who was like, you really should try tattooing. I think you'd be really fantastic at it. And I just like laughed at her face, I think. And she just hounded me for like 3 or 4 months and was like, you should check it out. You should check it out. You should talk to some people. So finally I went down and talked to a couple shops, and I talked to a couple of guys who were like, yeah, no. It's just because it's a very male dominated industry, like not so much in recent years, which is fantastic, but back then it was. And it so I met with a female shop owner and who was willing to give me a shot, and it just kind of branched from there. And now it's been 18 years. No, 17 years. And it's just kind of snowballed from there. Actually, I met my husband he was the client. That's how he and I met. And my daughter took her first steps in a tattoo shop. But it's always been, yeah, you know what? It's funny because everybody keeps telling me that. everybody keeps telling me about that I need to write a tattoo story, and I'm surprised I haven't yet. And I think part of it is because, honestly, when I read stories about tattoo shops or about tattoo artists, I get so pissed off. Oh my God. It makes me so mad because no one does, not no one, I can't say no one, that's not true. 70% of them don't do any research other than what they've heard in pop culture or through their own experience. So, and I swear to God, if I hear a tattoo machine referred to as a gun one more time, I'm going to slap somebody. It makes me insane because it's not a gun, it's a machine. There's no trigger. So it's not like...
So you're still tattooing?
I do for family and friends. I was in a shop for a very long time, but the hours are impossible. It's all nights and weekends. And at the time when I was doing it, my daughter was very young. So being away on nights and weekends is just impossible. But I do still do it for friends and family. And eventually I've thought about going back to a shop once, you know, my daughter gets a little older and a little more self-sufficient. But I'm not quite there yet. So it's going to happen, but it's a medium that I've loved. I've always done. I mean, it's something that I enjoy doing. I've had the privilege of doing some really crazy tattoos and some really fantastic tattoos. There's still a couple that are on my bucket list that I really want to do that no one will let me do.
Like what?
Well, after I saw Wedding Crashers, I've always wanted to do a bullseye on the small of somebody's back.
Oh my God.
Just because, I mean, why not? And then I've always wanted to do a heart, like an old school heart with the banner that says your mom instead of mom, just your mom. That one is definitely.
I could definitely see neither one of those being.
I mean, I've gotten weird requests for tattoos. I've like those two are the ones that I've always wanted to do, but I've never. I mean, I've done some crazy ones. Like I've done a top secret stamp on somebody's butt cheek. I did. Actually, it was my best friend. He was a Marine, and he got his top secret clearance. Like he leveled up, I guess. Yes. And that's how he celebrated. And I told him, I was like, look, I am fully willing to do this for you, but you're shaving your own butt. I'm sorry. Like, I love you. You're my best friend in the world, but no, I'm not doing that. Yeah, like, we can't come back from that. You can't, like, I can't. And, I mean, I had to go to this man's wedding and look his wife in the eye, knowing that I had tattooed his butt. Like, it was just.
It wasn't like literally right on his, like, butt cheek?
Yeah.
Not higher?
Yep, right on the cheek. And it looks just like the stamp. It's just right on the cheek.
That's hilarious. I've been wanting for the longest time to get a tattoo. I mean, I have two, but I've been wanting like a partial sleeve of because I'm half Korean and half Italian. I want a partial sleeve of a Korean geisha.
Oh, cool.
I have an image of it, but I haven't
do your research.
Oh yeah.
Do your research.
Yeah. But I want.
You gotta find someone. You gotta find someone. The thing is people don't really think about, like, a lot of times when they do tattoos, it's all about the price. They're all about how much it's gonna cost. But when you're gonna do something like yeah, like, but those are the ones you end up regretting.
Yes.
But when you have a piece, especially a piece that's personal to you and that you're passionate about, you need to do your research and find someone who's going to be just as passionate about what you're doing.
Right.
Because, like, it's going to show up in the image.
Right.
It absolutely is. Like, I have some bad tattoos, but like, I have some amazing ones that are really, like, you know, close to my heart. Like, we had talked about my love for Frank Sinatra, so now I got to show you this one. But I have a
damn, that is
Frank. Yeah.
Portrait.
And everybody's like, it's so funny because either people know immediately who it is, or they ask me if it's my dad.
Oh my gosh.
And I've gotten the weirdest one though. Was Barack Obama.
Really?
5 times in 2 different countries.
Wow.
Little Italian white man.
I don't know. I mean, granted, in the summer, like, I tan really dark, but not that dark. But
I mean, granted,
and
Barack
the other one
Obama's
is
not
like,
that dark, but still.
no. He doesn't have blue eyes. It doesn't make any sense to me, but whatever. People make their weird assumptions, and like it's kind of cool. Like when I go to New York in the summer, and if I'm wearing a tank top, it's like a celebrity. I get stopped like every 10 blocks because like, oh my god, can I take a picture of that? Like I'm sure, like I guarantee I have random pictures of myself on like hundreds of phones in New York.
with your Barack Obama.
Yeah, with my Barack Obama tattoo.
This is my most personal one. This is the second one I've gotten. My daughter and I. So it's a mother-daughter tattoo. And
cool.
At first we didn't, we were thinking something small, but then she comes up with this, and I'm like, holy crap! It's like, are you sure you want it that big? But she likes.
Those are the only ones. Those are the only ones that are safe to get. Like so many people, like I don't know how many times I've had to turn people. I've actually turned people away because they want to get like spouse tattoo, like their spouse's name or their boyfriend's name, or they want to get matching tattoos. It's kiss to death. You might as well sign your divorce papers immediately after getting it because it's going to happen.
No names.
I'm going to ask
I do have initials, but that's initials for my kids. So yeah.
That's different.
Totally
you can't.
safe.
I mean. Your kids are your kids, regardless of how much you don't want them to be sometimes. But like there's nothing you could do about that.
Right.
Well, I want to ask the people who are listening, do you have any tattoos? We'll see if they pop up and see if they have yes or no or what they have. I know Brandy has a couple. She's got a lotus. She got a book tattoo.
Awesome ones. You have some awesome
cool.
ones.
And I love going to these book events and seeing all these unique book tattoos, and it's like I don't have any because I'm a cheapskate and I don't like pain. But if I get the right one, if I find the right one,
I'm telling you, I am the biggest wimp when it comes to pain. I passed out from spraining my ankle. Like I'm so bad when it comes to that kind of stuff. But tattoos, it's not so much painful as annoying.
Yeah.
Except for the top of your foot. I will tell you right now, top of my foot. Never ever again.
This hurts.
I've stopped
really bad.
Oh, well, and that's a hard area because it's a hard area to heal. It'll always, like almost always, it'll bleed out.
Yeah.
So you got, or not bleed out, but like the ink will bleed out.
Yeah, I was fortunate.
But it's a tough heal. The work, from what I personally don't have any tattoos here, but from what I've heard, the tips of your fingers and right over your ribs are the worst.
Because you're right on bone. You're practically on bone.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I wouldn't do my fingers. I would have a hard time. Give me something meaty. Do it on meaty. I could tolerate it, I could totally tolerate it. Oh, my gosh. So, Brandy, you said you are a huge card lover, board games, and boba tea. How'd you get into boba tea?
My guess is she drank it. Did you drink it?
Not everybody knows what boba. Maybe now more so than ever, but before, the boba tea craze, only like the few selective white people, and mostly Asians knew what boba tea was. Because it's been in a part of our culture for. Did you get into it?
So I was in college. And we were going to go out to dinner, me and a few friends, to do a night class. So before our night class, we went downtown Cincinnati. There was a Chinese restaurant, and they had boba tea there. And one of the girls was like, "Oh, have you ever had it?" And I was like, "No, what is it?" And I think it was like coffee flavored because I love coffee. With the tapioca pearls, like the original one. And I tried it and fell in love with it. Now, I've never had any other place that has like a coffee kind around me here, but yeah, that was like the first time I ever had it, and then I didn't have it for a couple of years because I never wanted to go downtown because I don't live that way. So I was like, no, I'm never going down there. And then I found one probably like 20 minutes away from my house and near my work. So then I would go there. But then they kind of shut down during COVID, and I haven't seen them open back up. So then I researched other places or whatever, and there's two by my work now. Now it's expensive, so I don't go there all the time. It's a very special treat to take showers.
Yeah.
But me and Rochelle always try to get someone to go to events. We always like first places, and that's like the first thing. She's like, "We're gonna go to an event." I said, "Okay, where's it at?" So I can look up bubble tea.
And then you know what they do? They get their bubble tea and they Snapchat me. Says, "Look what we got."
Man, that's just mean. That's like rubbing it right in your face.
Well, you do the same thing to me, so I.
Yes, I do, because I'm your friend. No. Okay, so what do you prefer to write, Sam? Because you do say you write anyway. You're reading. Wait, I'm sorry. I'm like reading off your sheet here. So from romance to thrillers to historical.
Mm-hmm.
You said you write more of the romantic comedies and stuff like that, and you just got into it. So in your books, you said you have 7 books, 8 books, eight books. So are they all single title, and they're all romantic comedies?
The first 3 are is the Madison Square series, and it's somewhere in between Choosing Happy and Chance at Redemption, and it's those 3 are a series. They're standalone series, each about a different couple, and they're kind of like the comedic angst, if I would say. And then Whole Lot of Frogs, which is a standalone, that is a romantic comedy based loosely or inspired by The Princess and the Frog. And then I have excuse me, Unimaginable Kindness, which is a novella about that's kind of on the dark side. It's actually about a girl who tries to commit suicide and ends up in the hospital on a 3-day hold. And meets someone who gives her a new perspective, wanting to live, or new perspective on life. So that one goes a little weirder. Bulletproof is also is more on the suspense side, where it's about a small town in Kentucky, and this girl who runs a bar called Rock Bottom. It's literally at the bottom of a cliff face, and she meets this guy who's kind of running away from his New York City life. He was inherited his father's company and just kind of doesn't want it. And he's a chef and he just wants to cook. That's what he wanted out of life. So he kind of takes off and escapes to the small little town of Kentucky. That one is kind of like, honestly, like, I guess you can call it suspense, but for the most part, it's more just, there's a lot of conflict. There's in every book I write, there's always going to be, some wit. It's kind of, I think, like, the best way to describe it is really kind of an emotional roller coaster, because you're going to laugh, you're going to cry, you might get a little ticked off. I like to kind of write worlds that will suck you in, so you feel everything that the character, there's no one feeling for each of the books. And then I also did Touch of Gold, which is a fairy tale retelling of King Midas. And it's based in the music world. So it's this girl, and actually it's kind of, you get to revisit some of the characters from my Madison Square series within that book. And then we talked about Amongst the Chaos. And that one kind of threw me for a loop, but it's, I really like that one. And now I'm kind of going back to comedy. It's been a while since I've written something just funny. Something to just kind of make you smile, make you laugh. So the book I'm working on now is called You're Kind of Sorta Always Pretty Much Always on My Mind. It's a very long title, but it fits.
Just imagine.
Yeah. So, but it's about this girl who's in love with her best friend and has been for a very long time. And he is getting married to someone else. And she's kind of completely heartbroken at you know, and the book starts out where she's heartbroken at his engagement party, and she's trying to be supportive and, you know, be there for her friend, but in the meantime she's dying inside. But and while she's there at the bar, she meets this really good looking guy, and he's kind of flirting with her, and she's, you know, a little drunk and a little sad, and just goes for it and ends up hooking up with him in the alley, and then gets arrested for public indecency.
Oh my.
In the
That's fun.
Yeah, so in the first chapter. So, like, once they get out, once they get bailed out and she ends up home, turns out that not only that this stranger she hooked up with is now the new tenant in her building and lives across the hall from her.
Oh my gosh.
And it's just, so she's like dealing with a lot. She's kind of a mess. She's all over the place. She's, you know, on top of her friend getting married now, like they want her, she's a florist, so they want her to do the flowers in the wedding. So now she's like a part of this wedding she didn't even want to happen.
Oh, that's
and this guy
crazy.
Shows up everywhere. Anywhere and everywhere she goes, he's just there. He's across the hall. He shows up at her work. He shows up, like, anywhere she goes, he's just there. And she just can't escape him. And that eventually will learn, or, you know, turn into them growing closer and eventually falling in love. So I'm working on that book. It's coming slowly, but it's coming.
Sounds like a comedy of errors.
Is it slow because it's not coming to you, or you got something going, a whole bunch of stuff going on?
It's slow. It's slow because of work. Honestly, like, I have been so slammed. I'm finding time to write on, just because of the, like, right now my work situation has been pretty difficult. And it's been, I've been going for like a couple months now where it's, you know, wake up, work, eat, go to sleep, wake up, work, eat, go to sleep. It's just kind of been,
what do you do for a living?
Pretty chaotic.
What do you do for a
I'm
living?
sorry?
What do you do for a living?
I'm a mortgage underwriter.
Okay. Oh, that's crazy right now, especially with how the housing markets are and stuff these days. All over the whole across the United States. I could totally
Exactly.
So
I'm going completely crazy.
I could only imagine. So Brandy, so you're an avid reader. Would you ever consider writing your own books?
Yeah, actually, me and my father-in-law want to write a book together, and I just, we've been talking about it recently, and so, I kind of gave him, we want to write MM because he's gay, so he can help me with that part, but I told him, I was like, well, think of, like, the characters and whatnot, and, you know, what conflicts you want them to have, you know, their jobs, you know, let's get an outline together because I'm definitely like an outline person. So once we get that, then I can definitely help with the romance part of it. But I gave him the NM book recently to read. I don't know if he's read it yet, but he doesn't read romance. So I was like, well, you gotta at least read some of it so that you know, like, you know, what kind of thing you need in a romance. So,
does he want to write romance, or is he more like?
Yeah, he said he wants to write a book, and I said, okay, well, what kind of book? And he was like, oh, maybe a romance. And I was like, okay, well, let's do it. Like, he's wanted me to write, like, his, what is it called, autobiography or whatever. I was like, I don't know if I can write that. So that I would just be like writing about him. I don't know if I would be able to do that. But if we want to write about other people that are not real.
Are you afraid of what you might learn with writing an autobiography?
No, I'm not afraid of it because he's my father-in-law or anything like that. I feel like he's more of a friend than he's
okay.
But like he's more of a friend family to me aspect, just because he doesn't seem like a father to me in a good way. Like,
right.
My father-in-law, but like we have that, you know how like when you grow up and then you become best friends with your mom kind of thing. Well, I
understand the concept, not so much in execution, but yes, I know what you mean.
Are you saying he's your kind of like your gay best friend?
She already has one of those.
Yeah, I do already have one of those, but but they're not stereotypical.
The more the merrier.
Right.
It's
Most
fine,
definitely.
but like the first time I met him, I didn't know he had a partner, and I was just like, oh, okay, cool. Like your parents are divorced, whatever. And my husband was like, yeah, he has a partner. And I was like, oh, cool beans, like whatever. But he's just a cool guy.
It's cool.
Very rugged kind of person, so I don't know. We kind of vibe a little bit.
My father-in-law wants to write a book with me too, or wants me to help him write a book, and he wants his life story, and he's had all these little incidents like near-death experiences, and just he's moved from different areas, and he's like a generational family businessman, and just all these different stories that have happened to him. And I'm like, okay, well, I would be like polishing it, or would I be writing the story, or would you be dictating it and I put my own flair on it, or do you want me just write down what your notes are? Or it's just, he has many ideas. It's very overwhelming. And then of course you have all your own personal stuff that you have all these characters in your heads arguing with you. I want my story told. No, I want my story told. No, I want my story told. And it's like, how to balance all that. And, and he's just talking. And I'm like, yeah, it would be an interesting story because he's had a really bizarre life. He's had so many strange things happen to him. But, I mean, really, they can make a series over what's happened in Kent's life this week kind of thing. It would be interesting because he is like sarcastic and witty. And they have all these phrases in the family about him because of his anger, like they call it going Kentish, where he goes off. But yeah, so I don't know how I would even begin that.
It sounds like you need to get him a microphone and a laptop, and I smell a podcast.
Yeah.
I mean,
the Kentish.
You may want to steer him away from the book idea and more towards the podcast, because that sounds like it would be a freaking awesome podcast. Or have you ever? There's a book by Justin Halberg called "Shit My Dad Says."
Mm-hmm. Oh, I heard about that.
Yeah. Oh my God, that is
I heard about it.
You need to read it. It's hilarious. I've never laughed so hard in my life. There are so many damn stories in that book. I mean, his dad is an asshole, but oh my God, is it funny?
Sometimes the assholes get out the best stuff. You know what I mean?
Oh my God. Oh, they're blunt. I'm obsessed with that kind of stuff. I love those kind of stories and those kind of just those kind of people. I am a huge Tucker Max fan, and people are constantly why? Because I don't know if you've ever read I Hope They Serve Beer in Hell.
No.
I
haven't read it, but it's funny.
I did not, but I know. Yes,
he's awful. I mean, just awful. He is an awful human being. He really is. But objectively, when you're reading the story, oh my God, some of the things that they've done. And I mean, I'm from Florida. His dad actually owns a bar called Max's Grill in Boca Raton, and we used to hang out there all the time when I was in college. And it's just I was so obsessed with reading his stories just because, just to read his friend Sling Blade's rant on the McGriddle.
Oh my God.
Is the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life. It's just, it's like this raunchy ode to a breakfast sandwich. It's the craziest thing, but it's hilarious.
So they're nonfiction, right? They're all nonfiction? All his stories?
Yeah, nonfiction. Yeah, all these things
they've done.
Oh, that's crazy.
And it's awful. I cannot stress enough how much of a garbage human being he is. I really can't. You can't go in thinking you're going to...
I won't go into details, but I know there's one. My sister-in-law read this. She goes, there's one that he was sitting on a toilet, and he made the girl give him a blowjob. Well,
that's not even close.
Crap.
That's not even close to the most disgusting thing he's done.
I know, but this is what's what's in
There's
that.
no redemption. There's none. Like, but that's what I'm saying. Like, it's so funny. Like, it's so funny, but you cannot go into it expecting not to be offended.
No.
At some point, you will be offended.
Yes.
But like,
especially when you're a woman, because of
oh my God,
crap
he
that
just
he
talks crap about anyone and
Yeah.
everyone. I mean, and it's awful, but it's hilarious. Like I've never.
He's still making money off of it.
TED Talks and college lectures. I will never ever understand why, because he's basically just giving these kids ideas because it's all the stupid. He's making money off the stupid frat boy crap he did in college, and I will never like. I mean, if you think about it, there's genius behind it, and this crazy thing is that the guy went to an Ivy League college. He is incredibly smart. I mean, unbelievably smart.
The movie they made, doesn't touch.
No, and it made. Do you know what? It made me sad in the movie because in the end they had to give him like. He had to make him see the error of his ways, and I'm like, man, that's not Tucker Max. You can't. He doesn't see any kind of. There's no redemption for him whatsoever, and he's perfectly cool with that. He's perfectly cool.
Oh yeah, most definitely. That was.
I have a respect. I have a respect for people who are unapologetically who they are.
Yes,
that's one of the things that like I love so much about Frank Sinatra is he was unapologetically who he was,
right?
And he didn't care what anybody thought. So, and I have like good, bad, or is whatever in between. I have a very big respect for people who are just who they are and live their life by their rules and don't really care what society or anyone else thinks.
That's the way it should be. Be who you are, but that's not how it is sometimes.
I mean, do I ever want to hang out with that guy? Absolutely not. I mean, it would most likely end up with me probably kicking him in the nuts at some point, but still, like, you
would be in his story next time.
Exactly. You're like the crazy author who kicked him in the nuts. Like, it just, but no, I don't even think that would make it because of how crazy extreme the stories are. Like, that's probably just a regular Tuesday for him.
Oh my gosh. So it's getting down to the wire. Brandy, if there was any authors out there that are interested in your swag and stuff, where can they reach out to you?
On Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, pretty much anywhere. My name is like BookBabe44. So if you look that up, pretty much you can find me anywhere on social media. So I make all kinds of stuff, and I take custom orders, and if you're thinking about something that is like, oh, I could probably make that, but I don't want to make it, or anything, like, hit me up. I could probably figure it out.
I like the book swags that you make. I'm actually thinking about having you do a couple of those for me for my upcoming series for Deacon.
Or the leather ones.
Oh, I didn't see the leather ones. You have the leather ones?
The one with
they're really cute. They're like little mini books.
Yeah, well, that's what I was talking about, the little mini books, but with Deacon on the cover, if that's possible. So that would be kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I can make a charm bracelet, necklaces.
I saw the charm bracelet you made for her series, so that's kind of cool.
And then I can also take, like, I can find charms that, like, are from your book, essentially, like, that encompass your book ideas, and put a charm bracelet together, or a necklace, or anything like that. I like doing that just because I know what it means. Nobody else knows what it means. So, like, it inspired me to make it, kind of thing. So.
That's kind of cool. That is cool. So where would they be able to find you, Sam, on social media if they're interested in books?
I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at Samatha Harris Books. Also, my website is samathaharrisbooks.com. So my entire backlist is up there.
Where do we find you for tattoos? I'm seriously thinking I'm going to give you DM you off loop. It's like, can you put some arrows around my wrist? Cover up some of my mistakes.
I get that all the time. Actually, I ended up, when we first moved in, I traded tattoo work for a brand new lawnmower with my neighbor.
Wow.
So
Nice.
it ended up working out.
That's kind of
But
cool.
now, like, I've just been doing it for friends and family.
Yeah. So is there any events that are coming up for you two that you'll be attending coming up soon?
I'm actually going to be at Rebels and Readers next month. Yeah, I'll be at Rebels and Readers in Hershey.
Yes.
Yeah, well, you guys gotta stop by. We should hang out. Here's the thing about her. Have you ever been to Hershey?
This will be my first time, but I am I'm going next year to West Virginia, back to West Virginia.
Here's a little, like, you need to prepare yourself, because Hershey likes to make these fantastic chocolate martinis.
Ooh.
And the problem is they give you a goal, because they put a Hershey Kiss in the bottom of your glass. So now all of a sudden you're drinking to get to that kiss, and next thing you know, you're four martinis deep, and you've lost your friend who went to find a cheeseburger. So just like
I'm
proceed with caution. I'm telling you, if you see, I'm staying there anyway, but oh my God, if you see me wandering the halls, just kind of like, point me to my handler.
For chocolate martinis.
Absolutely. I will totally be sitting there by the bar.
Okay. Well,
I'm sure that's usually where you can find me.
I'm down. I'm driving in from New Jersey because I'm coming down with, I don't know if you're familiar with Monica DeSimone. So
I think I've met her before.
Yeah, she's been a part of Rebels and Readers. So this
is my first Rebels. I've worked with Tanya before.
Okay.
When she did the coffee, chocolate, and books signing at Hershey.
Yeah.
But I've never been to Rebels before, so this is my first Rebels.
Oh, okay. So Monica's been a part of this. I guess this event from before. So I'm going to be flying up to New Jersey, and then we're driving down to the event, and then we're leaving because we're trying to do a little mini retreat, so we're not staying at the hotel. But
you gotta stay at least for a drink.
I can for a non-alcoholic drink. I'm allergic to alcohol.
They have a fantastic they have lattes based on all their candies at this little coffee shop there. Oh my God, so good. So good.
I'm looking forward to that.
I know, me too. You're making me shiver.
No, yeah, Regina Kyle, who's coming in. I am a Rebels virgin, so Regina Kyle's coming in, and we became friends at the Lori Foster event in Cincinnati. The readers and authors get together, and she's like, "We need to get drinks," and I'm like, "Okay, chocolate martini it is."
Yes, it is. They have several different variations, but each one of them have like a little candy in the bottom, and that will get you in trouble every time. But it's worth it.
I wish I could have some. I would have to.
You just have to watch the rest of us.
I'm gonna.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You just make sure that we don't wander off somewhere, because that hotel is very large.
Okay, I'll be the handler. I will be the handler.
Hurting the authors. This way, girls.
My assistant usually does that for me because she's the same way. She can't drink, so every time she comes with me, she's usually like following me around to make sure that nothing happens to me. But she's not very good at it, because at one signing it was like pirate themed, and at some point there ended up like with a shot glass between my boobs, like in a cleavage situation, and she let me walk around for 45 minutes with it still sitting there. I completely forgot. I didn't feel it. I didn't notice. She walking outside, and people are just kind of looking at me funny. First of all, I'm dressed like a pirate, and there's this shot glass in between my boobs, and nobody said anything. Nothing whatsoever.
Was it filled or was it empty?
It was empty, but there were other things in there too, because that night when I got back to the hotel room to change, there was coins and beads and fake jewels and stuff.
It in there?
It's a wishing well.
Apparently it was that night. I don't know. It just because all this stuff just kind of fell out. But it's good. It's good times. Good times.
Awesome. Well, hopefully we'll get there early enough, and because it's only a 3-hour drive, and so
that's October 15th and 16th.
Yeah, I won't be there Friday, but I'll be there Saturday for the signing.
Yeah, I'm coming in Friday. I'm driving in from Dayton with CJ Beatty.
Okay.
And then I know that Brandy is going to the Mansfield signing. When is that one again?
November 20th. I'm just going to plant flags.
You're going to have to let us know how it is, because, I mean, that's going to scare... I can't do any of that. That would just scare the living crap out of me.
It's at the prison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a nighttime signing from 6 to 10, and then they said they're doing tours afterwards, but we're not going to go on it. So.
You're not going to do the
I think your
tours?
husband would want to go on the tour.
Well, it's from 11 to 1. And I think
it's at night.
Yeah. 3 hours.
Oh.
And I was like, we got to drive home. No.
You get one of those self-driving cars. Put it on autopilot. Go home.
That would be cool. Then you don't have to worry about the drinking and driving bit.
Yeah. Rochelle,
I only live 45 minutes from Hershey, but that's exactly why I got the hotel room. So, because, you know, I'm goal-oriented when it comes to drinking.
There you go. Well, thank you so much for joining us. It was
Thank you for having us.
Yes. So, and thank you all out there for joining us. And I hope you got tons out of it. And we'll see you next time.
Before we go, I just wanted to see, I don't know if you could see the comments, but Sam, you have a cousin who said she wanted, or he.
That was probably my cousin Tammy. Okay. Hi, Tammy.
Yeah, it's Arbogast or Arbogast.
Yeah,
73. She said she wanted to give a shout out to her cousin.
Earlier. I'll have to text her later.
All right, I just wanted to mention that.
Thank you.
All right, have a great day.
Have a great day. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.